yeah, what was it? It's been a very fun year. I've done a lot of things I never thought that I never previously thought I would be able to do. Especially with Sky, I've accomplished things that are frankly in staggering numbers. I met you guys because of that, and I'm grateful for that. You guys been sticking around with me when I've just been goofing off, and honestly, it's made this significantly more entertaining than it would have been otherwise. Even just having like one or two people to bounce like talking points off makes the biggest difference in the world compared to when I used to sporadically stream League of Legends and talk to pretty much an M2 group. That was sad. Let's not do that again. Now, granted, major reason why that happened in the first place was because I had some really awkward hours, right? I was working out of Taiwan at a time, and it's just impossible to have a Western audience when everybody's asleep, when you're just starting to get down on things. But that said, let me bring up the document I pre-wrote for this, because there will be a couple changes to my channel in the future that I especially want you guys to be aware of, because you are the ones that have been sticking by me this entire time. But I did write it down somewhere. I did want to make sure I had said it properly, so give me a chance to find where I put it. Where did I put it? Oh, no, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Ah, here we are. Here we are. Okay, let's go for a top. So I wrote this whole thing. I'm gonna skip some of it because I think I wrote too much. So, all right, let's go for a top. So I streamed on YouTube for exactly 1 year to date, and I have a lot of thoughts about that. Streaming on YouTube, especially as a brand new content creator, was something of an exercise in patience. I did get used to streaming for money, obviously. Soberly, especially as an indie level content VTuber, a male VTuber besides, before the whole Luxium and Noctix explosion. The odds were pretty much stacked against any idea that we're making profit off this hobby, right? So when I say patience, I specifically do not mean the patience to eventually start making money from streaming, because this is very much a hobby level thing that I just want to do to de-stress from my day job. What I mean by patience is specifically the community tools that YouTube had promised for the last 2 years to eventually roll out to its general public, and particularly the one that allowed for intra-creator and community building. The unfortunate truth, however, is that YouTube has been desperately slow on this, depressingly slow. Twitch is already infamous for its the functions for that. Facebook streaming basically adopted the entirety of Mixer's tech stack, specifically so that it had community engagement tools for better retention, for better viewership, and for better collaborations between creators. And it's now been 1 year to date since I started, and there has been no major changes to how live streaming on YouTube has worked this entire time. They have promised a lot, but they haven't even rolled out anything that for the smaller independent level content creators can substantially feel. At best, you will see 1 or 2 tweaks to how analytics are displayed, but that's not the stuff I'm looking for, right? I'm looking for specifically stuff to build communities, to build engagement with you guys, to allow for more interactions on audience bases and between creators as well, to make it easier to collaborate. But that hasn't happened. I mean, YouTube is fine at all if you're an agency supported content creator, and somebody that's already partnered with their content with their ecosystem. Like Drake was saying, they got rid of the dislike button instead, right? Which is actually substantially helpful if you happen to be a mid-sized creator and you want to attract an audience that may or may not be skeptical about you, regardless of the ethics for literally everything else aside. But the fact is, YouTube live streaming is now the 3rd most popular live streaming platform behind Facebook, specifically because of the pickup from the Mixer tech stack. The ability to interact with the community, collaborate, and funnel attention to fellow creators via Twitch raids, and active platform-led programs like Twitch does on a weekly basis. They're all mechanisms that generate long-term retention and viewership growth, right? And eventually generates profits for creators too, making streaming and community building, even just hiring a dedicated mod or two, like they're all mechanisms that actually makes like doing this viable, not only as a full-time job, God bless if I ever achieve that level, but just like something that actually makes sense to commit more time and more resources to, right, on a personal level. Like, this is an expensive hobby. The model alone, I have to be careful not to get too excited and like splurge on scabs and commission and everything just because to make myself look good. I have to be very, very careful not to overspend. And that's why I'm announcing that I'm going to be switching to Twitch TV. If you follow my social media at all, you know that I'm not exactly Twitch's biggest cheerleader. If anything, I am extremely skeptical and have a lot of trepidations about the platform. Like, much of their middle and lower level staff, meanwhile, have done much to foster traditionally marginalized communities in particular, right? But the fact of the matter, with any corporation, you'll see a huge disconnect between what the lower level staff wants to do and what the actual like policymakers and decision makers are willing to do. And that's common enough situation in corporations, but that's especially exacerbated with the fact that they're owned by Amazon. And given Jeff Bezos' less than humanitarian approach to business policy across the board, that's kind of why I didn't start with Twitch TV and wanted to stick out on YouTube for at least 1 year to see if there was going to be any drastic improvements, to see if all their promised rollouts would begin. And they haven't. And the thing is, Jeff Bezos is a very different villain. The words I can say about him is that he perpetuates, like, extends systemic issues, right? He is basically an evil villain CEO, but he's no different from any other evil villain CEO out there. But recently, what's solidified this decision that I've been thinking about for the last like 3 months was a publication made by YouTube facing their content creators. I'm not sure where you can, I can probably find a link later. But they published on February 10th by Chief Project Officer Neil Mohan an article titled A Look at 2022 Community Collaborations in Commerce. And I quote, Web3 also opens up new opportunities for creators. We believe new technologies like blockchain and NFTs can allow creators to build deeper relationships with their fans. Together, they'll be able to collaborate on new projects and make money in ways not previously possible. And by not previously possible, in my own words, he means illegal because they were blatantly multi-level marketing scams. Guys, I have no appetite for NFT nonsense. I'll dial down the audio a little bit. Down below half of this. To reiterate, I have no appetite for NFT nonsense. Like, it affects too much of my real life industry and profession as it is, and because I'm an independent creator, I'm not obligated to entertain YouTube's desperate attempt relevance by piggybacking on a supposed Web3 feature that even a tech giant like Google can't properly define or justify. So, just as I did with YouTube for 365 days, I'm going to try Twitch TV for a year. Because the one thing I know is that Twitch TV staff, at least their mid-level staff, are extremely skeptical of NFTs and blockchain. Now, they have some NFT folks as content creators on the platform because they don't regulate that kind of shit, but the platform itself is skeptical of NFTs, and I know that for a fact. And that probably means, let's be fair, this probably means a better deal for you guys in the first place. It's not very hard to get to like affiliate levels with Twitch. I can commission folks for like personalized emotes. I can direct you to the content creators that I've been paying attention to via Raisin stuff to show you the stuff that's entertaining me and show you different people that are better players than me in certain games, are doing things I personally think are interesting, like Shindag's like experimental VTuber set has been extremely entertaining. That one time he basically like did a virtual TwitchCon, except it was TwitchCon for like 2016 before everything happened, and like all these like old heads, like old industry veterans, like collapsed onto the stream because it was just full of nostalgia. That kind of shit is entertaining, and that kind of shit I can't do on YouTube, right? It's also the case with YouTube that I can't switch between games once I'm done with a certain set. I want to play something else. Like I haven't played a whole lot of Stepmania, but you'll never see it because changing from a Stepmania stream to a Pokemon stream to a Guilty Gear stream is a pain in the ass on YouTube. Like there's simply a whole lot more community tools built around Twitch than there is for any other platform, especially YouTube. And while Twitch TV's native discoverability is ass for the most part, I'm also at a point where I don't think that the algorithm is all that much of a benefit for indie level creators, like independent creators with no prior networks or anything else, right? And what my YouTube streams haven't shown is the fact that I'm actually, at this point, decently connected, or at least familiar with, a lot of the Western VTuber scene. Like I talk to the Domodachi groups constantly, the folks that have showed up on Domo's like independent VTuber interviews. I know them on an individual basis. I talk to them a lot, and I can't leverage any of that on YouTube as a platform. It's hard to argue that it's substantially easier to be on the radar of other creators in general by being on the same platform as well. And the fact that YouTube's going to NFTs and everything makes in my eyes a necessary thing to try, at least to see if I can't make more fertile grounds on their platform than this one, if the future of YouTube is going to involve NFTs instead. Now, that's not to say that I'm getting rid of this channel. In fact, it very much stays. I will still have a couple more streams as I get things ready for Twitch, and I will be announcing on social media when that overall change will happen. And as I've already announced, I do have the collaboration this weekend with Orihime. I very much want to finish up at least the main line of Pokemon as well. And quite frankly, there are some things that I very much want to do as a VTuber that I cannot do on Twitch nearly as well. Long form contents, even short form video uploads, that is the sort of thing that does in fact need algorithmic boosts for long-term traffic, as well as a place that makes it easy to store VODs and search for VODs later. And that's not something that Twitch does very well, especially on not this point. They were never meant to be a YouTube replacement. I plan to set up a separate channel specifically to dump Twitch VODs onto, and this one will remain dedicated for shorts, music covers, long-form video uploads, especially stories. I've been meaning to do at least one story video a month, but January and February proved especially busy, and I underestimated how difficult it would be to make something of my quality standards. So it turns out that 1 month project is more like a 3-month project if I ever get my ass off for the story. But one is in progress, and I'm telling you, it's a pretty tasty one. So look forward to that. So what I want you guys to do is please stay subscribed, if you please. After my Orihime collab, and hopefully after I finish Pokemon, I do plan to take a short break, not more than 2 weeks at most, to set up some assets on Twitch's side. And I'm thinking that would be possibly around mid-March to early April, somewhere in that time range. There is one overlay artist in particular that I really want to work with. And otherwise, be sure to follow my Twitter, be sure to follow my hashtag, and I will absolutely keep you all up to date on how I'm progressing and how I'm setting things up. And otherwise, I will see you all on the other side. And hopefully, I'm not going to say the grass is greener because I know the quality of the grass before, but definitely, I very much do not like the taste of NFTs.